All right, everybody, it's another episode of 90 Days of Wisdom, and today I am talking to you about overcoming your resistance to change. Now, this is such a huge topic, and I hope I'm able to do it justice in a few minutes. But what I'm going to talk to you about is a specific process that I use to help people really dive into their resistance towards change and to make change in their own lives. What I find as a coach is that many people I work with, whether it's early career or whether it's even senior leaders, will say to me that they have an obstacle that they're working with that they just can't seem to shift. And when we start to explore it a little bit, and we start to really get into the nitty gritty of, well, what is that resistance towards change and how does it show up and what happens? And we talk about all of the things around resistance. What usually comes up is a feeling of discomfort about a change that people know they need to make. But it doesn't come from a logical perspective, because often what people will say to me is, I know that I need to make this change, or I know that this change is already happening, or I know that logically all of this makes sense, but emotionally I'm just not there. And so we end up in the emotional space. And what do we do then? Because that can also be very uncomfortable. Well, here's a 3-step process for you. Get under the stand that you're taking. What I mean by stand is that when you're in resistance, you are making a stand and you are taking a stand against a position of change. So get under the stand that you're taking. Find out what it is that concerns you most about the change. Find out from a feeling center the feelings and emotions that you've been stuffing down in order to not make the change. Sometimes it could be fear. I'm afraid that if I make this change, then other things will change. I'm afraid that if I make this change, people may have a different opinion of me. I'm afraid of losing something. Most often we're afraid of losing something as a result of having to make a change. But if we can get to a point of understanding the feelings that we're having, we can start to validate those feelings. Because feelings are like little inner energy beings within us that are looking for acknowledgement and they're looking for understanding. But we are so conditioned to pushing away those feelings because they're uncomfortable. And actually, big men don't have feelings and all that kind of stuff. And, it's weak if you have feelings and you express them. So let's just stuff them down and pretend they're not there. And let's just stay in our stuck state and our resistance because you know what? That feels better. It doesn't. And the longer it perpetuates, the worse it gets. So let's bring acknowledgement and understanding to those feelings. Let's really allow the free flow of those feelings and any emotions attached to them. As a coach, it's not uncomfortable for me to hold space for that. Sitting in the coaching chair, I know how uncomfortable it is to sit in that space and to allow those feelings that I have pushed down for so long to come up and to have them validated and witnessed by somebody, no matter who it is. It's an uncomfortable process. But if we can do this, what we can then do is we can come to a place of acceptance. Because what we realize is that when we get under the stand that we're taking, we bring validation to our feelings and emotions. The things that we've been so afraid of allowing ourselves to fear, what we often find on the other side of that is sometimes tiredness, because we've been holding on for so long. Sometimes exhaustion, again, because we've been holding on to all this energy. And sometimes what we find is deep, lasting peace because, gosh, I was able to say that thing. I was able to demagnify it from being this huge thing to maybe something that wasn't so huge. I've been able to give myself space to think about it differently because I've allowed the emotional energy to move on, and therefore my brain has a little bit more space to think about a pathway. Most of all, what it does is creates the opportunity for us to look at the world differently because we've taken away the emotional charge. And we can see with clarity or more clarity what we either want or what we can or what we need to do in order to create the change. But getting over that emotional bit is the hardest. So that's my take on overcoming obstacles and resistance. I know it's quite a narrow focus, but what in my experience and the work that I do specifically, I often find myself in the emotional space because we all get the rational and logical, but it's the emotional space that helps us move the most. Clearing the emotional cup is the most important thing we can do for our own evolution because it frees our body of all of the debris that we've been holding on to for so long. So I hope that's been useful for you. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me directly, drop them as a comment underneath this video. And I wish you the very best of luck and good fortune as you look to create change in your life. And if you need somebody to hold space, find a friend, find a relative, find a trusted partner, or get in touch with me. I'd say give me a call, but get in touch with me and make an appointment. Take care and have a great day.